Thank you so much.
All right, good morning, everybody. It's right at 11 o'clock, so we'll go ahead and get started so we can get the most out of this session. Welcome to this session. Let me make sure this will go. Okay, great, it's working. All right. This is Empowering Women in Emergency Medicine Leadership, a journey through women's leadership timelines. My name is Kate Redinger. I am an associate professor and assistant dean for clinical applications at Western Michigan University Homer Stryker School of Medicine in Kalamazoo, Michigan. I'm going to kind of get started with just a little bit of an introduction, but before I do that, I wanted to introduce all the amazing women that put this session together. So we'll go ahead and let them do that.
Yeah, thank you all. What a very nice turnout for this panel discussion. I'm Melissa Platt from the University of Louisville. I have been in academic emergency medicine for the last 19 years and counting. I'm currently the Associate Dean for Graduate Medical Education in our School of Medicine.
I'm Laura Walker. I'm at Mayo Clinic. I'm an associate professor, and I am our vice chair for digital health in emergency medicine. And I've worn a lot of hats over time, from medical director, quality improvement, some EHR, build stuff when we went live on Epic, and have done a lot of things, but I'm now currently, like I said, doing digital health.
Hi, everybody. Thanks so much for being here. My name is Wendy Sun. I am the Yale Admin Fellow, and I've had the privilege of being the past SAEM Rams president.
Hello, my name's Nikki Vins. I'm an associate professor at UNC in Chapel Hill. I am the residency director for the emergency medicine program, and I'm also the associate DIO for GME.
Hi, everybody. My name is Judy Linden. I am professor of emergency medicine at BU School of Medicine, Boston Medical Center, the executive vice chair in the department, and so inspired to look out here and see all the current leaders, past mentees, current mentees, and future leaders. And thank you all for coming.
Hi, I'm Kinjal Setharam, and I'm at the University of Maryland. I'm an associate professor there, and my leadership hat is that I'm the medical director of hyperbaric and dive medicine at Shock Trauma.
Hi, I'm Penny Lima. I'm the Vice Chair of Faculty Affairs at Columbia University. I'm an Associate Professor of Emergency Medicine there, and I'm excited. Starting July, I'll be the New York ASAP President-elect and the first Asian American man or woman. So.
It's hard to follow that. I can't follow that. Okay, there's nothing. I'm Hannah Mishkin. I'm the program director for the Reading Hospital Emergency Medicine Program. I'm an assistant professor for the Drexel West Reading campus residency, and so I have the privilege of working with all these wonderful people.
Okay, and with that, we don't have any disclosures to report. With this introduction, I'm just going to give a brief overview of the state of women in emergency medicine. A lot of this data that I'm pulling from is a couple years old, but really the most comprehensive data that I could find that was out there from the Association of American Medical Colleges, and then also from a really wonderful study by Dr. Hobgood that was published in JAMA. So put these graphs together because picture's worth 1,000 words. But you can see here that rank progression is a problem for women in our specialty, but also women across academic emergency medicine. Women lag in faculty rank progression and lacks parity in academic ranks, and that is across all specialties as well. So here you can see that this is data from 2020. We had just 11% of the academic chairs in our specialty were women. That was compared to about 19% across all clinical specialties. One posited reason for this is that also women are less likely to be engaged in publishing and securing long-term funding and grants, which is a critical factor when looking at the academic promotion and recognition at institutions. Now, there's been quite a bit of progress lately into choosing different tracks for promotion that don't weigh as heavily on publication. However, depending on where you're at, sometimes those tracks then are seen as not as robust and lower tiered promotions. So this is something that I have definitely directly observed, and I'm sure as we discuss later, is something that a lot of my colleagues have observed as well. I'm in my role as Assistant Dean for clinical applications, so mostly for clerkship directors. Almost all of the clerkship directors that I had the first year were women, and none of them were prepared to go up for promotion because so much of their time and effort was spent in service to the institution. And so they were spending a lot of time clinically building the curriculum, teaching, but not able to go up for promotion against some of our other faculty who were not as involved. So I think part of this session is also coming up with strategies for how we can fix this. So one thing I did in my position was whatever we're doing as a group, we're going to publish that. So we're going to figure out if we're changing our assessment forms, we're going to figure out how to make that scholarly and get everyone to see the value in publication and knowledge generation from the service work that we do. This is a funnel chart that I think is a nice graphical representation of the attrition of women through the different stages. So coming into medical school, we've reached very good equity there, 50-50 women and men. But then our percentage of trainees and then faculty, and then like I said, department chairs is at 11%. What's interesting as well is the percentage of EM chairs that were women in 2001 was 10%. So we really have not made a lot of progress in the last 10, 15 years. This is the study that I referenced earlier. If you have a chance to go and read it, I definitely encourage you to do so. So this is Dr. Hobgood and published in JAMA in 2022. I had the privilege of listening to her present these findings at a AACEM conference a couple of years ago. Here she surveyed all of the academic chairs in emergency medicine with more qualitative questions about how they viewed their experience in leadership, and noticed some different trends that emerged that I think are quite interesting. And then as we get into our discussion, I think we've all experienced to some degree. So male chairs, she found, answered that they felt that leadership and additional roles were their destiny, and they were motivated by a desire to gain influence and power in the institution. They were dismissive of the risk that might be associated with taking on additional roles, and they benefited significantly from sponsorship from senior leaders that facilitated their advancement. When the same questions were asked to women about how they viewed their role and how they got to where they were, female chairs answered that they felt that leadership was a responsibility that they had to the institution, and they were motivated by a desire to make a difference. They were very cautious and calculated the risks that might come both personally and professionally in taking on the additional roles and responsibilities. And then they also relied more on their personal efforts rather than sponsorship to gain those achievements. So some of these differences just highlight the need for tailored leadership, which is a strategy our group has kind of put together over the last 3 years. We've held similar sessions at SAEM, and I'm very glad to see the amazing turnout that we've had this year, where we want to encourage women to internalize leadership as an identity early on, and then link those leadership opportunities with your purpose and motivation for why you practice medicine. We're going to practice some coaching strategies and sessions today so you can see how that particular style of leadership can be really advantageous to you. And we want to foster an environment that encourages risk-taking and validates all of the capabilities that we have. So part of this exercise, I mentioned the title was a reflection on timelines. So In past iterations of this, we focused more on just where people are kind of in their current state and where they want to go. But this time, we wanted to also encourage the participants to take a reflective look back at where they have been so far that's led them to where they are, and look at where they might have had struggles or challenges and identify the learning opportunities, so that then when we're coming up with actionable goals for kind of when you're all going home and you're motivated from all of the amazing things that you've seen this weekend, and you have goals that you want to achieve, how you're able to actually act on those. So to get the most out of today, we want you to reflect on whether you've had personal or professional experiences that have shaped your leadership identity. We want you to identify any pivotal moments that significantly impacted your leadership journey. We want to highlight any gaps that you might have in knowledge, experience, or networks that might be a barrier to going to that next level. And then I want you to use the group that you're in today to start to strategize how you're going to address those potential barriers. And then use the collective wisdom here in the room for inspiration in supporting the next generation of women leaders in emergency medicine. This is just an example timeline. Everyone's also kind of been coaching me through the last couple of months because our chair position was open at our institution, and so I've been getting some personal coaching in how to address and navigate that and see whether that's something worth of pursuing for me personally. So in doing this, I went through the exercise myself and put a little timeline of my leadership through medicine here. There's definitely times that I have felt unique in my position as a woman, but always empowered by it and wanting to make the best decisions overall. So I entered medical school in 2007. I had 2 children in medical school. The first, my daughter Elizabeth, was born the first week of second year. And navigating that, I was not anticipating the kind of the level of obstacles that that there are for women that I encountered. I went in and met with the dean and asked, how maternity leave works, especially when you're all preclinical and you're just sitting in the classroom anyway. Didn't anticipate an issue, and was basically told at the end of the conversation, well, if you're going to quit now or quit later, it doesn't really matter. I would encourage you to quit now. So that was kind of how I started medicine. And maybe that's probably shaped a lot of my leadership and also my pursuit of medicine through the whole time. Because I felt like, you don't want me to have 1? I'll have 5. So I have 5 kids now, and I've never felt like they've held me back, but I do feel like I've been able to take all of that and really empower other women. And now the best thing that I get to do is even mundane things like changing calendars and schedules and things like that. I do it in a way that I know that all of the students can take a maternity leave whenever they want, and it won't impact their course. So there's always a silver lining. So as we break into small groups today, I just want to encourage you to share experiences with each other and ask questions. It's a really safe, open space here, so if you're struggling with something or not sure what to do, please ask, and we'd love to help coach you through it. We're going to break out into 4 groups, just the 4 corners of the room, nothing too fancy. That is a pretty big room, so there'll be a little bit of shuffling. So we're going to have communication in that back corner right there, managing conflict over here, negotiation here, and operations and finance over here. So if you want to break out, we'll switch at about 15 minutes, so you'll have a chance to participate in kind of 2 small group discussions, and then with about 10 minutes left, we'll all come back and share and ask any questions of the larger group. All right, thank you.
Yeah, and I'll just tell you,
the small groups are not recorded, and it's not like microphone or anything like that. So really, it is sort of a safe space. Make sure that it's sort of stays confidential. It will not be recorded because of the small groups. Maybe the leaders can be hard.
Hey guys. So we've had such good discussions, we didn't switch groups. But we are about time to wrap up, and so we just wanted to kind of come together as a group again, see if there are any pearls anybody wants to share or questions for the broader group in just these last few minutes. So. Yeah, great. Yeah, so if we would just want to, anyone has anything exciting to say, we can pass the mics around and share our highlights. And again, I just wanted to plug AWEM, which is where we all came together to do this didactic, and particularly the Administration and Leadership Committee, which we are all on. We do monthly meetings with mutual support and various other things, so if you want to be involved in that, email anybody who's listed on the didactic and we can get it sorted out. So with that, anybody want to share anything? I hope somebody learned something today.
Don't be afraid to quantify your sort of accomplishments, and when you're specifically looking at contracts, make sure you really know what you're signing, because it's not the time when you need to pull it out later on to understand what's in it. So use any resources you have to really look through your contracts well.
One pearl I'm going to take away is the shadow negotiation, because it's not the first time I've heard that topic, and so to have it come up here in a quite sophisticated circle reminds me of how important it is. So just making sure that your chair is aware of what direction you want to be moving and what you're kind of looking for as your next step is something I will take away from this. So thank you.
Can you give the definition of the shadow negotiations? You don't have to. The leader wants to.
I'll try my hardest.
Because it is a very big, important thing that happens.
All right, I'm just going to read. I'm going to read my note here. Okay. And I can email this document to anyone who wants it. Shadow negotiation refers to the subtle, often unspoken aspect of negotiation that occurs alongside formal discussion. So think about those little conversations while you're on shift with your chair. It encompasses the underlying interests, relationships, and dynamics that influence the outcome of a negotiation. While the formal negotiation focuses on tangibles like price, terms, and conditions, the shadow negotiation delves into the intangible factors such as trust, power dynamics, and interpersonal relationships. And we all do it all day long. We do it here. How about back of the room?
Hi. I just wanted to share how more like my experience in our group is I feel like the things that I've been feeling is my problem. It's been actually shared by a lot of our colleagues, and it's just great to see how we are focusing on change and how we can do this together as a community. So I'm very grateful you guys putting this together, and I have questions for later Q&A session. So thank you for our leaders. I can go into Q&A then. I don't know. I have some questions for the whole. I don't know if anyone else wants to share. Okay. So it's not particularly for like one part of the session today, but more our women in leadership is. I feel like a lot of people talk about coming into opportunities, like they just like ended up taking that led them to the next level or different path. But has there been any, and one of the recommendations I got from another session is, well, diversify your portfolio. That will give you more opportunities. Has there been any steps that you guys took to make sure that you can diversify portfolio and expand your CV that led you to where you are with like, title/leadership or opportunities that led to the next steps?
So since I'm holding the mic, I'm going to just answer that a little bit. I think there's a balance between diversifying the portfolio and having that focus, and understanding when an opportunity comes your way, like where does it fit within your career trajectory. And I think Kate can probably speak to this a fair amount with her current experiences. But like, where do you actually want to end up, and does that opportunity align and get you where you want to go, I think is the first question. Diversity is fun, but it's kind of a double-edged sword.
Yeah, I think there's certain like core buckets of things that you're going to have experience in. And since this is an academic crowd, I think when you first come out, for those that are junior faculty and early, like really getting good at the clinical side is so important to like just get that foundational piece. And then, so for me, I kind of moved up naturally in a lot of the clinical operation pieces first. And then I think you start to develop a little bit of like, what is the niche of emergency medicine that you like, or what is the aspect of medicine that you really enjoy doing? And then trying to be a little bit more strategic and lining up where your personal interests are so that you also enjoy what you do, right? I give a lot of talks on time management too, and I said during like my residency interview, they're like, how do you do it all? And I was like, well, if you love what you do at work and you love what you do at home, then it's really just time management, right? If you don't like what you're doing, it's a very different problem. So I think getting a piece of knowing GME and the residents, getting a piece of undergraduate and knowing what's going on at the medical school level, and then moving up more into like administrative of the school. Are those like the core buckets that you kind of need some experience in. But then how Laura mentioned, like you all want it somewhat focused though on where you're going. So if you always have some aspect of kind of like, so I felt like I brought emergency medicine to the clinical skills space initially at the medical school because I could speak all the languages and I could do simulations. And so that was just a natural building block because I was really good at the clinical stuff. I could just naturally move into leadership roles at the UME side, and then that kind of branched into other things. So.
And just to add, mentorship is super important. I feel like I talk to my mentors all the time if like new and exciting things come along. And at the same time, like sometimes my mentors have recommended kind of interesting activities that maybe I might have said no to, but they're like, trust me on this, and I did. And then it turned out like, to be really like a great experience. So, seek out your mentors.
Yeah, I agree with that too. And you also have to, you'll have to realize that this is a marathon, not a sprint, right? You don't have to know all the answers right now. You will grow and change and be different than you are today, and that's a good thing. But what you'll find throughout your career is that if you're in tune with yourself, you're going to feel yourself pulling away from stuff that maybe doesn't interest you anymore, or you gravitate towards something else. Capitalize on that, sort of know yourself. And then as these opportunities present themselves, as you sort of move up, you can pull on what makes it enjoyable for you. If you like what you do, doors will open for you in more leadership because they sort of see the joy and that you're good at what you do. But you'll also notice that, okay, I tried something and that wasn't for me, or you might have outgrown it. And that's okay. That's part of your career, and it's okay to say no to what some people may think is is their end all be all. It's okay to say no to a high level position if that doesn't sort of fit you or if you want to take it in a different direction. Don't be afraid of that.
We got to wrap up here because we're gone a little bit over. My one last word on this is don't feel obligated to do a thing that is not right for you. And I think as women, we often have that sense of obligation, and it's hard to get out from under it. But it's okay. The world won't end. So thank you all. If we can just kind of put our chairs back for whatever next session is here, that'd be great.